Hey, what's up, guys? This is Elo Speaks back again with another video. In this video topic, we're going to be talking about the LeBron James and the propaganda media campaign that he has been started since, I would say, early 2016-ish, maybe, well, actually before then. This whole LeBron James propaganda has started a while back. Excuse me. That, he has obviously he has paid agents in the sports media, allegedly, such as Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, Emmanuel Acho, etc., and etc. So I just want to go over that because you have to. I want people, whoever are watching this video or listening in, or however you're viewing this, to like listen up and listen good. There's a media propaganda campaign because LeBron James in itself is a sports politician, and he's gonna do anything in his power to make himself look good. Now, having media pundits in the mainstream sometimes is good, boost your profile, put you there if you're selling a product or doing something great. But in terms of how LeBron James is using them, he's using them to spread a false media propaganda campaign to try to, persuade the public view into thinking that he's better than Michael Jordan when it's clearly that he's not. And yes, there's some people who do think that they honestly think that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, and he's the greatest player of all time. I don't agree with that. Most people don't agree with that, but there are some people who do think that. And to be honest, I will never have Michael Jordan and LeBron James as my number one greatest player of all time because, one, he has too many finals losses. Two, that meltdown against Dallas Mavericks, that right there, that meltdown right there will never have him as the greatest player of all time, in my opinion. Two, he formed super teams and he hopped from team to team and acquired talent, way more talent than Michael Jordan ever played with in his entire career. I've never seen a guy make so much super teams and gets lauded for it. Yes, he's the main conductor behind the teams and their success, but still, for you to have all those superstar players such as Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, Westbrook, AD, etc., and etc., Ray Allen, to play with all that talent and you still lose 6 times in the NBA Finals and you won 3 titles and a bubble championship. That's all. That's all he has to show for it. He's played 20 years in the league. This is the 20th season he's playing right now. And in those 20 years, he won 3 championships and a bubble title. While Michael Jordan didn't play 20 seasons, but he still maxed out in terms of peak and won 6 championships and never lost in the NBA Finals. And that's gonna be the death knell to most Michael Jordan and LeBron James debates because Michael Jordan never saw defeat. Now people want to bring up how he was never able to beat the Boston Celtics or the Showtime Lakers, etc. in the 80s. Michael Jordan didn't have a championship winning team in the 80s to even compete with those guys. And by the time Michael Jordan was even facing those teams and they knocked him out of the playoffs, they went on to win a championship. So that just shows you the level of skill that he had to deal with in terms of playing against those teams in the playoffs before they even reached the finals to win. But by the time Michael Jordan reached maturity and was able to have a competent team to win a championship, it was game over. Nobody was able to beat him at all. But again, that's just a conversation for another day. But in terms of the media campaign, you have to be careful about who you're consuming content to, unless you're just consuming for entertainment reasons, which I'm doing. I listen to Undisputed, First Take, and all these other Speak for Yourself, First Things First, all those shows. I listen to it for pure entertainment and laugh. I don't take what none of these clowns say seriously because all I know is they're paid to propagate a narrative depending on who the player is. There's certain players where they don't have no bias agenda towards, and then they give their honest take, and you could tell they're giving their honest take because unjust. It's honest. They're just giving their perspective. But when they're talking about a particular athlete, such as LeBron James, you could just see the propaganda oozing out of their mouth as they're talking a bunch of BS along the way, trying to prop up a player. Now it's disaster right now for the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James, and the media pundits are trying to spin it around, seeing what they could do to try to help LeBron James win. They're trying to. They can't blame LeBron James because that's out of the question. Even if he does have a bad game, that's out of the question. They can't blame him. It has to be somebody else's fault, and that's where Westbrook comes in, because he's, out of all the scapegoats that LeBron James has had throughout his whole career, I've never seen a bigger scapegoat than Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has been the biggest scapegoat in NBA history in terms of how the media has constantly assassinated this guy's character. Everything we knew about Westbrook right now as a basketball player, we already knew that. If you had a keen eye, we already knew that in his OKC days, his Houston Rocket days, and his Washington years. We already know what type of player he is. We already know his style of play and what he does with the basketball in his hand. The fact that he came to the Lakers and the microscope got heightened towards him, and the level of scrutiny that he was facing was 10 times magnified, just shows how big a scapegoat it was, him playing on that team. Especially, you could say it got even heightened tenfold because he's playing alongside with LeBron James, and the media was hammering him all last season for his poor play, even though it wasn't entirely his fault. Yes, he did play bad, but the other team didn't play any better to help him alongside with it too. But they had to do anything to blame him and not blame LeBron James, because LeBron James is above critique for some strange reason. So again, be careful for people like Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, Emmanuel Acho, and all the other fanboys in the media, because they will not blame LeBron James. LeBron James is paying some of those guys allegedly to talk glowingly about him and pump him up in terms of propaganda. Now we're seeing top 10 debates, and some of these fanboys are having LeBron James in their debate, and it always has to end with, I know people have MJ as number one, but I have LeBron James as number one, blah, blah, blah. It has to be some type of caveat as to why LeBron James has to be number one, and that's how you know that there's really no GOAT debate, because if you stand firm that LeBron James is the greatest of all time, then there should be no caveat or no reason for you to even substantiate your claim for LeBron James to be the GOAT debate. But deep down, they know that LeBron James is not the GOAT, because they have to continue make BS excuses as to why he has to be at number one, or he has to be 1A or 1B or some stupid crap like that. But again, most fanboys of LeBron James know that Michael Jordan is the greatest, but they have to find any type of way to topple the Michael Jordan GOAT debate, and they're gonna do anything in their power to do that. And it's gonna start with LeBron James, then it trickles down to the sports media pundits that's trying to persuade people's opinion to have LeBron James seen as the greatest of all time. Then it trickles down to the fanboys in the media. I'm talking about people on YouTube, people at the barbershop, etc., etc. People who do podcasts such as myself, trying to persuade people into thinking that LeBron James is what he's not, and that's not the GOAT. But again, I just want people to be aware of the media propaganda and the foolishness and the lengths that they will go to try to make people believe that he's the greatest of all time when he's not. But the raw numbers and the championships and the accolades and the advanced stats will show you that, by and large, Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James through and through over LeBron James. But again, those are my thoughts on the matter of this situation. Just be careful who you're consuming content to, because people are really pushing a lot of BS on there, and you don't know who they're greasing palms with, who they're shaking hands with to put out this type of propaganda, because I'm telling you right now, it is not honest. At worst, it's propagandas of people saying that LeBron James is number 2 behind Michael Jordan, just so he could be close enough to Michael Jordan. And then If by some chance LeBron James is able to win another championship or do something historic, then they could be like, this is what edged him as the greatest player of all time over Michael Jordan, etc., etc. So they just want, some people are, they know that LeBron James number two. Well, he's not number two in my book, but some people put him at number two just so he could be right there by Michael Jordan. And if he continued to get any type of achievement awards, then they could be like, okay, this the thing that edges him over Michael Jordan. Or if he's lucky enough to win another championship, which he won't, then they could be like, oh, this was edging over Michael Jordan. They're hoping that the Lakers would have played good this season for he could possibly contend the title, so that he could be like, oh, he's the oldest person in NBA history to lead his team to a championship and win Finals MVP, or he's the oldest person to average 30 points and win the scoring title. Blah blah. Last year when he was stat padding when his team was losing, and the media had no choice but to call him out on his BS, so that's why he kind of stopped. And he was purposely picking and choosing games with soft defenses so he could stat pad during games and avoid teams with better defenses, because that's what the coward he was being when he knew that they were out of the playoff race and he was trying to get the scoring title. But I digress. Those are some of the foolishness that LeBron James will try to do, and people like me, people are in the other people that's going at LeBron James as a detractor, I'm gonna point that out in his booyahs. So I'm gonna continue to do that until he retires and go away, because I will not let that slide. If he does something great or win a championship, I'll give him credit. But if he continues to fail and fall short of his goal, then he will get critiqued as so, because he's so-called one of the top 10 players in the league, and he needs to be critiqued as so. So those are my thoughts and opinions on the matter. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. This is Ito Speaks out.